The restaurant was the kind of place where the wealthy came to forget the world. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm golden glow across marble floors, and soft piano music floated through the air like a gentle whisper. Every table was filled with well-dressed guests sipping expensive wine and speaking in quiet, confident voices. It was a place of elegance, power, and money. But behind the polished walls and luxury decor, there were people whose lives were very different. One of them was Lena, a young waitress who had been working double shifts for weeks. Her uniform was simple, her shoes slightly worn, and her hair tied neatly behind her head. She moved from table to table with calm precision, carrying trays of food and drinks while maintaining a polite smile. Yet beneath that smile was exhaustion. Lena had been awake since dawn. Her mother was sick, and medical bills were piling up. Her younger brother needed school supplies. Every tip she earned mattered. Still, she never complained. To the customers, she was simply the quiet waitress who always said, "Of course, sir," and, "Right away, ma'am." Most people barely noticed her. But that night, someone very powerful did. At exactly 8:17 p.m., the heavy glass doors of the restaurant swung open. And the entire room changed. Conversation slowed. Heads turned. Even the piano player's hands hesitated for a brief second. Because the man walking inside was Victor Romano. Everyone knew the name. Some whispered it with fear. Others with respect. Victor Romano was not just rich. He was powerful in ways money alone could not explain. A man rumored to control entire business districts. A man whose enemies had a strange habit of disappearing. He walked with calm authority, wearing a perfectly tailored black suit. His dark hair was slicked back, and his sharp eyes scanned the restaurant like a king surveying his kingdom. Behind him walked two large bodyguards. The manager rushed forward immediately. "Mr. Romano, welcome. Your private table is ready." Victor didn't respond. He simply nodded once. The manager quickly led him to the most exclusive table near the window. The tension in the restaurant slowly settled again, but whispers began spreading between guests. "Did you see him? That's Victor Romano. What is he doing here tonight?" Meanwhile, Lena was in the kitchen collecting an order. She had no idea what had just happened. When the head waiter approached her, his voice was tense. "Table 7 is yours tonight." Lena glanced at the ticket. Then she froze. Table 7. Victor Romano's table. The other waiters exchanged nervous looks. One of them muttered quietly, "Good luck." Lena frowned slightly. "Is something wrong?" No one answered. She picked up the tray and walked out. The restaurant felt strangely quiet as she approached the table. Victor Romano sat back in his chair, casually looking through the menu like the world belonged to him. Lena stood beside the table politely. "Good evening, sir. My name is Lena, and I'll be taking care of you tonight." Victor didn't look up. "Water." His voice was calm but cold. "Yes, sir." She placed the glass carefully in front of him. But as she did, something unexpected happened. One of the bodyguards suddenly moved his arm while reaching for something on the table. The tray in Lena's hand tilted slightly. A single drop of water spilled onto the tablecloth. Just a drop. But Victor noticed. Slowly, he lifted his eyes. And the temperature in the room seemed to drop. The entire table went silent. Victor stared at the tiny drop of water like it was a personal insult. Then he looked at Lena. "What is this?" His voice wasn't loud. But it carried across the room. Lena immediately grabbed a napkin and wiped the table. "I'm very sorry, sir. It was an accident." Victor leaned back slowly. "An accident?" Guests at nearby tables began watching. The manager stood frozen near the bar. Victor's expression hardened. People like you always say the same thing. Lena stayed calm. I apologize, sir. It won't happen again. Victor placed the menu down slowly. Then suddenly, he slammed his hand on the table. The sound echoed through the restaurant. Now everyone was staring. You ruin my table, and you think, sorry, fixes it? Lena's heart was pounding, but she kept her voice steady. I will replace the cloth immediately. Victor's voice grew louder. Do you even know how much this dinner costs? No one spoke. Some guests looked uncomfortable. Others were quietly enjoying the drama. Victor stood up slightly from his chair. You people get jobs here and think you belong in places like this. The insult hung in the air. Lena's hands tightened around the tray. But she remained respectful. Sir, I'm just doing my job. Victor laughed coldly. That's exactly the problem. He pointed at the table. You ruined my night before it even started. The manager rushed forward nervously. Mr. Romano, please. Victor raised a hand. Silence. Then he looked directly at Lena. And his voice rose loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. You're a terrible waitress. Gasps spread through the room. You probably came from some poor street corner and think carrying plates makes you important. The insult was brutal. And now every single person in the restaurant was watching Lena. Most people expected her to apologize again. Or cry. Or walk away. But she didn't. Instead, she slowly set the tray down. Then she looked directly at Victor Romano. For the first time since the confrontation started. And when she spoke,